Road racers hear the call from all over the world and just can't stay away. Their commitment to speed is beyond commendable. Sometimes it's simply unfathomable. A new helmet here, another pair of tyres there, engine rebuilds, racetrack MOTs, spares packs, another new motor, untold sets of gearing, and even tea bags for the team. If you can remember to put it on the list of things you need to go racing, chances are it's going to cost you. You'll need thousands and thousands of pounds to go racing. You can wave goodbye to your evenings, your weekends. They'll be lost to building, tinkering, and fettling bikes into the best shape possible. All that effort in the pursuit of preparation just to get to the start line.
Why do they do it? This is why they do it. Yesterday, the view behind us was utterly miserable. Look at it now. One day later, and we got the blue skies that we were hoping for race day, day 7 of the 2022 Manx Grand Prix. What a day we've had. Let's start with that lightweight race. James Hind was on to win it. He qualified fastest. He did have a tiny issue as he crossed the line in qualifying. Did a 1:17, wasn't quite happy. I think he'd run out of fuel, and they made a tiny tweak to the bike. They added an extra tooth at the rear, which in his calculations was going to be enough to get him around in that 2-lap race. Unfortunately for him, it wasn't enough to get him around, and that was the end of that for him. He's a young lad, 22, he's got a really bright future ahead of him. He'll be back here. He's a star of the future for sure, but today wasn't his day. So with James Hind out of the way, it was Mike Brown from Cork who took the top spot in that 250 lightweight race. He'd never ridden the Laylaw race in 250 until this week, so they set the thing up to run real rich and make it kind of like a beginner's 250. He ended up blitzing his way to the top step with teammate Ian Locker, the kind of road racing and two-stroke stalwart, taking second spot. The man of the day for me in that lightweight race was Stu Hall. I met him for the first time yesterday. You guys wanted me to talk to a privateer. I found the best version of a privateer I could find. Completely dedicated, been dedicated to road racing for decades. Spent 30 grand of his own money buying that bike. He'll be paying it off forever and a day. But the reward that he got for all of that effort today was a 3rd spot in the 250 race. Real emotion from him and his son, who does the spanners for him, and his mates in the winner's enclosure. I don't think he expected it, but he looked perfectly at home there, and I think he deserved every single drop of that podium celebrating champagne that was sprayed on him. Second race of the day was the junior, the one that runs effectively to mini-twin regulations. It looked from the outset like Jamie Williams was going to take the win. Local guy from Douglas, in a really commanding and leading position until the last lap. Last lap seemed to strike in every one of the 3 races today. Jamie had a breakdown. Unfortunately, that was him out of the race. So lots of disappointment for local race fans when Williams had to retire on the last lap, but that promoted Italian racer Francesco Coringa into the top spot. And Chris Moore, another guy born on the Isle of Man, but he lives over in Derbyshire, I think. He moved up into 2nd place. More drama in the last lap. Saw local guy, he's a carpenter from Peel down the road, Mark Colvin, promoted up into 3rd place. His dad's raced here, he's grown up, desperate to race here himself. Amazing to see him taking that 3rd spot on the podium. Last race of the day, an absolute humdinger. The Senior Classic, Stefano Bonetti led for about a lap and a half on the pattern, the one that John McGuinness loaned him the fuel tank from yesterday when John was forced to retire from that race. Stefano led the way from Dom Herbertson and from Lee Johnston, and it looked like he was edging it out and doing his thing. About a lap and a half in, Lee Johnston had reeled him in on that Yamaha. Nip and tuck racing isn't in it, and I said on the radio today, that race to me proved that you don't need brand new motorbikes to have great racing on the Isle of Man. That's probably I'd say probably the race of the day for me. Lee Once he got in front after that lap and a half, just managed the gap perfectly. Lee owned it over the mountain in particular. I don't know if it's because the bike makes great power and he's quite a small racer. Whatever the reason, every time he got onto the mountain, he just absolutely bossed it from, I don't know, from the gooseneck all the way to the crag. A brilliant race. Lee Johnson took the win, Stefano Bonetti took second, and Mike Brown again took the third spot on the podium on a Norton that had been shipped all the way from New Zealand just for this race a week and a half ago. The effort that these guys go to put racing on for all of us is absolutely insane. Long day at the office for me. This show absolutely isn't about me, but doing the post-race celebrations and the interviews in the winner's enclosure for the first time live on Manx Radio was a real challenge. I don't mind admitting to having a complete kind of mind blank at one stage, just hit a false neutral in my head, forgot my own name, forgot how to breathe, forgot everybody's name in front of me. Lasted about a quarter of a second and everything came back, but quite a lot to take in. What it did remind me when I was down there watching them spray champagne was just how fortunate I am to be in this position. I love being here, I love getting involved and being able to get as close to the racing as I am. Unfortunately, when you get as close to the racing as I am, you end up losing bets, like the one that I placed in the lightweight race. So this delicious pint of beer won't be being drank by me watching the last of that sunset. It belongs to the cameraman. I'll be back with him tomorrow. I'll just give him this beer, hang on. So I'll be back with him tomorrow. It's a quiet day in the paddock. There's no racing, there's no practice or qualifying, but we're going to get down there, catch up with a few riders, a few of the teammates, see what's going on effectively their day off before the senior and the classic superbike race on Bank Holiday Monday. I hope you've enjoyed the show. I hope you're following all the Manx Grand Prix social media channels, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.